Well, good afternoon. I am Kit Brashears, and I'll be your presenter here today as we explore how social media impacts your mental health and well-being. I'm the Communications Director at the University of Minnesota's Earl Bakken Center for Spirituality and Healing. My team and I manage the center's websites, our social media, and so much more. Additionally, I teach a one-credit course online at the Bakken Center called The Implications of Social Media on Mental Health. And I've been teaching this course since like 2014, and as you can imagine, social media has changed a whole lot over that time frame. So we've got a ton to explore today, so we're just gonna jump right in. On screen over here, or over here, you're going to see the Bakken Center's well-being model. So well-being is strongly linked to happiness and life satisfaction. And it's influenced by physical, mental, social, spiritual, and environmental factors. When we're experiencing well-being, we feel connected to purpose, to people, and to community. We're at peace. We're energized. We feel confident and in control, resilient and safe. In short, we're flourishing. The dimensions of the center's well-being model, if you can't see them, include health, relationships, security, purpose, community, and the environment. Now, all of these dimensions are interconnected, and it's important to focus on all of them in order to achieve a well-rounded and fulfilling life. When we neglect one dimension, it can have a negative impact on the others. In today's talk, I'm going to be using this well-being model as a framework to explore the impact of social media on your mental health and overall well-being. So social media can impact our brains in so many different ways. So if you've ever taken a mindfulness class, you know that a regular mindfulness practice can make positive changes in your brain. These impacts include things like increased attention, better stress responses, sometimes pain relief, and even improved mood. A 2023 survey that was conducted by Al Jazeera found that most folks use social media for 2 to 3 hours per day. If a healthy daily practice like mindfulness meditation can rewire our brains in good ways in just a couple of hours a day, what kind of changes do you think using social media can cause, especially when we often use it way longer than 2 hours a day? Research tells us that since social media is really easily accessible and competes for your attention with the promise of fresh content, heavy social media users become less able to ignore distractions in general, not just online, but offline in daily life. Not only does this lead to poor cognition, but it also shrinks parts of the brain that are associated with maintaining attention. A 2019 study suggests that heavy social media use is actually linked with memory deficits, especially in your transactive memory. I was actually just talking about this with a couple of friends at lunch. Transactive memory, if you don't know, it involves deciding what information is important enough to store in your brain and what information can be outsourced or just completely forgotten. In one study, participants were asked to record an experience using their notes or their social media, and other groups were asked to experience the event without recording it. At the end of the study, those who had recorded or shared the event performed worse and showed more of a memory deficit than those who experienced the event without recording it. So just to be clear, recording the experience worsened participants' memory because their brain received the message that it just didn't need to hang on to the information. As a result, not only did these individuals lose memory of their original experience, but they also may experience long-term deficits in the size and function of their brains. So if you're spending time with loved ones in any situation, think about what's important to capture and share, and think about what's important to actually experience and live. Using social media can activate a dopamine response in our brain. Many of you have probably heard of this before. Dopamine is a feel-good chemical that's linked to activities like food, sex, and social interactions. I like to tell my students that we literally like likes. So valuable reward schedules complicate things even more. There's a psychologist named B.F. Skinner who first described this in the 1930s. So when rewards are delivered randomly, like a positive interaction on social media, and checking for the reward becomes easy, like simply tapping a notification, the dopamine triggering behavior becomes a habit. Now, as a side note, this is why I often encourage people to break this habit by turning off your social media notifications in general. This is one of the easiest things that you can do, and it might be really hard for like 24 hours, and after that, you're gonna start realizing, whoa, I have a lot more spare time than I thought that I had. Many of us actually use the pull down to refresh function when we're on social media. So, you know, what else provides this potential reward when we pull it down? Any ideas? Slot machines. Yes, exactly. I love this quote from Dr. Jackie Sperling, who is a psychologist at Harvard. When the outcome is unpredictable, the behavior is more likely to repeat. Think of a slot machine. If game players knew they were never going to get money by playing the game, they wouldn't play. The idea of a potential future reward keeps these machines in use. The same goes for social media sites. One doesn't know how many likes a picture will get, who will like the picture, and when the picture will receive likes. The unknown outcome and that possibility of a desired outcome keeps us engaged with these sites. Now, your brain is constantly sorting through different kinds of information. I've shared a little bit how social media can rewire our brains, but it can also encourage us to multitask. How? Well, when we're watching TV and we're scrolling at the same time. I was just doing this last night, so I'll be hypocritical for a moment and share that. Even when you take a peek at your social media notifications when you're in the middle of a project at work, or when you're caring for someone. The desire to multitask can be really overwhelming for caregivers like you who are managing jobs, families, homes, and so much more. The science suggests that multitasking negatively impacts our cognitive functions, such as attention, memory, and even problem solving. When we're trying to juggle multiple tasks, our brains become really overwhelmed with this constant influx of information. Let's do a short multitasking activity. You're going to be very familiar with this one. All right, now you're probably going to laugh when we do this, but bear with me. I'm going to demonstrate, but we're going to have a compact here. You guys have to do it with me if you can, because I'm going to feel ridiculous if I'm the only one doing it up here on stage, all right? Okay, if you're able, go ahead and stand up. And if you feel more comfortable sitting, that's completely fine too. Okay, now put one hand on your belly. Okay, put the other one on your head. You guessed it. Now begin to slowly rub your tummy while you're patting your head. Now, you might be asking why we were just talking about multitasking. The overuse of social media can have significant impacts on our brains, as I've shared. And if we add multitasking by using social media, we're likely going to pay less attention, we're going to forget more easily, and we're going to feel unsatisfied or even unnecessarily stressed by all these tasks that we're trying to manage. It was pointless to try to do any of them. We're missing out on these real lived experiences, and even those mundane tasks can be really important. I mentioned that I'm going to be using the dimensions of the Bakken Center's well-being model to explore social media's impact on your mental health and well-being. So first up, we're going to talk a little bit about social media and our relationships. The Center's Taking Charge website, which is a fabulous resource if you're not familiar with it, and I'm not only saying that because I'm the editor and I write a lot of the content, but it says this about our relationships. Healthy relationships are a vital component of health and well-being. There's compelling evidence even that strong relationships continue to contribute to long, healthy, and happy lives for many people. Now, as a quick note, Taking Charge also has terrific resources for those who are experiencing cancer, rare disease, and chronic conditions and their caregivers. We have a new section of the site called Taking Charge of Your Survivorship, and it's written by several Doctor of Nursing practices. with a lot of experience in cancer and caregiving, so please check that out. There are a number of ways in which relationships can affect our health and well-being. For example, strong relationships can lead to, stress reduction. They can improve immune function. They can promote healthy behaviors and even protect against some disease. Relationships are critical to our well-being. Now, social media can bring many positive things to our relationships. It can help us make new friends, and it can also strengthen our relationships with our existing friends. It can help people discover communities of others like them with their unique interests. It can also help us learn more about each other and connect through shared interests or through lived experiences. Caregivers, like so many of you, are facing very unique challenges that many of your friends who aren't caregivers are not facing. While your friend networks are critically important, it can also be helpful for you to connect with others who might better understand your experiences as caregivers. But as always on social media, please be careful to not share too much. Connecting with people on social media can feel very personal to you, especially when you're sharing things that make you feel vulnerable. But remember that the person on the other side of that screen might not feel the same way, and they might not be in the same mental or emotional place as you. By the way, I have to put in a quick plug here. I'd highly recommend connecting within the negative space. You've seen some promos here, I believe, but definitely check it out. They have terrific virtual support groups, a podcast, and a very active, safe online community. Alternatively, social media can cause stress and disharmony in our relationships. Now, how many of you have been out to dinner with friends, and at one point you looked around and you noticed that everyone was on their phone? Yeah, I'm seeing lots of nods, lots of vigorous nods. How did that make you feel? I'm guessing that if you still remember that, and it was a while ago, it did not make you feel good. The Pew Research Center conducted a survey which said that 40% of partnered adults were bothered by the amount of time that their partners spend on their phone. Additionally, a study focusing on computers and human behavior even found a link between social media use and decreased marriage quality. The study results predicted that people who do not use social media are 11% happier in their marriages than people who regularly use social media. 11%. So feeling envy and down on ourselves because of what others post on social media is associated with worsening depression and decreased overall well-being. All right, as we're gonna wrap up this section on social media and relationships, I'm gonna share just a few quick tips. So first off, don't rely exclusively on social media as a means to stay in touch with your loved ones. It's great and normal and fun to send hundreds of memes and photos to each other. We all do this, but your friends deserve a little bit more than that. A text message is good, but a phone call or better yet an in-person visit show your loved ones that you're actually invested in spending time with them. Second, just be patient. We all have that friend, and it's me, who is terrible at responding to texts. You know that I'm looking at my phone because I just liked your Instagram post or I tweeted something. It can be so frustrating to be on the receiving end of that, but just be a little bit patient. People manage their own time in their own ways, and they might simply be waiting for a better time and to be in a better headspace to interact with you. Me, I respond when I'm feeling like I can actually be present with someone, not when they see my red notification. Make sure to be real. Now, just because we're behind screens, it does not give you permission to treat people differently than you would if you were right in front of them. Pruning is one of my favorite tips. So most of us probably don't feel super connected to every single person that we're following. We might have thousands of friends on our social media apps. Is the assistant at your old dentist office actually a friend, or were they an acquaintance that you made and connected with on social media and haven't seen in 20 years? Occasionally, it's a good practice to just go through your social media following list and consider who's bringing you joy, who you're interacting with, who you would like to get to know better, or who, like a college roommate's cousin that you met once at a party, you could probably go ahead and remove. Remember, too, that removing someone from your following list does not mean that you dislike them in person. It simply means that you don't want to engage with them on social media, and that is very fine. And especially in politically divisive times, I just want to repeat that loud and clear. Removing a family member from your social media following does not mean you don't love them. It does not mean you don't like them. It simply means that that is not where you want to engage with them in the most productive manner. So I touched a little bit on how social media makes us feel, but I want to dive just a bit deeper into how social media impacts our emotions. All right, we're going to do one more exercise. You don't have to stand up for this one. Okay, now for one moment, think of a word that describes how you're feeling right now. Don't say it out loud, but just think it and hang on to it. Okay, now, if you can, take out your phones, and you can open a browser and look at a news site, or go to your favorite social media site. If you're not a social media user and you can't look at it right now, again, visit a news site or a site that you visit regularly. Now, for a moment, I'm going to ask you to scroll. I don't want you to like anything. I don't want you to interact. I want you to just scroll and read, watch, and listen to whatever pops up. So go ahead and start now if you haven't already, and I'm going to give you just a couple seconds. Social media can provoke so many different emotions, from joy and anger to sadness and excitement. And for those who are living with chronic conditions and their caregivers, this can be particularly challenging. The well-being model demonstrates how your thoughts and emotions can affect your health. Being able to recognize these thoughts and emotions and to sit with them and understand the effect that they have is really important. When we begin to think about social media and emotions, we may think of joy, laughter, connection, but most people will probably name feelings like stress, frustration, overwhelm, jealousy, election terror. Many of these emotional responses can be attributed to how fabulous the lives of our friends or celebrities look to us as outsiders. And for caregivers, I know that this can feel especially terrible to see our friends going on cruises, attending parties, going to great beach vacations with their families, or even just living in a way that seems to suggest they don't have any cares in the world when it feels like so much is stacking up on us. Social comparison theory suggests that people value their own personal and social worth by assessing how they compare to others. There are two types of social comparison. There's upward social comparison and downward social comparison. Upward social comparison can make you more motivated to improve your abilities. So for example, when I see one of my neighbors who is a really talented artist, when she's posting images online, as a painter myself, it always makes me think about ways that I can improve my art and be better. This is really helpful because it can absolutely provoke growth. On the other hand, and you know where I'm going with this, downward social comparison takes place when we compare ourselves to others who we feel are just worse off than us. These downward comparisons are often centered on making ourselves feel better about our abilities or traits, like, I might not be great at something, but I am way better off than that loser over there. This is very, very normal. However, social media makes it way easier for us to compare ourselves to each other. It's really easy for us to feel inadequate or even inferior or jealous when we see our friends on these vacations we can't afford, when we see them losing weight, when we're struggling with our own body shape or our own body image, when they're exercising and we're unable to, or even just getting frustrated by noticing that a friend's post is getting more attention than your own. Social comparison can propel us to new heights and help us grow. However, when we begin to focus on feeling bad about ourselves or not being enough, it's so easy to spiral until our self-esteem is just absolutely in the gutter. Self-compassion is one of my favorite topics, and it can help buffer a lot of these really negative feelings that social media might provoke. Dr. Kristen Neff, who is a self-compassion expert and one of my favorite colleagues, says that self-compassion is simply the process of turning compassion inward. We're kind and understanding, rather than harshly self-critical when we fail, make mistakes, or feel inadequate. We give ourselves support and encouragement rather than being cold or judgmental when challenges and difficulties arise in our lives. Self-compassion and being mindful of your own reactions can really help us focus more on these upward social comparisons. That is, telling ourselves to be proud of our own moments because we earned them and working with our social networks to help us grow. One of my favorite tips when it comes to self-compassion that Dr. Neff has ever shared with me is that it's really good to talk to yourself internally like you would talk to your own best friend. So what do you do when someone is trolling or cyberbullying someone you care about online? Or when you just start comparing yourself to others and start feeling yourself feel awful? Well, there are a few solutions to managing your emotions that I'm going to outline here that might help. One of the easiest and fastest things that you can do when you're finding yourself feeling bad because of social media, or you're experiencing a negative emotion because of social media, is to simply just take a breath and a break. That's it. It's one of the easiest things that you can do. So when I was a little boy, I was really close to my grandmother, and I was a really angry little kid. And she would tell me when I was upset to hold my breath, count to 10, and then at 10, let all that anger out with one huge breath. Now, I'm a grown-up now, and I don't really hold my breath anymore, but the advice still works well. Taking a breath and even just stepping away from your computer or putting your device face down can go a long way in helping to diffuse those really hard feelings. Second, just don't feed the trolls. Sometimes it is really good and really important to shame people. I could give an entire talk about shame and social media, and actually, when my academic course, the students and I start talking about that, the topic always gets really hot. If someone you know is being a racist in a post, of course, it's completely acceptable to reach out to them directly and ask them why they felt the need to post that and explain why you found it to be hurtful and not okay. However, if you're reading the Star Tribune and you see comments using really awful language to describe how the governor is awful and how they hate him and they hope he loses in this election, it might be best to just acknowledge that you don't know the person that's posting. They might even be a bot. You're probably not going to change their opinion, and it's just best not to feed the troll and move on and let it go. And if these tips are not enough, just remember that Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle said it best in the song Survivor. You know I'm not going to diss you on the internet because my mama taught me better than that. It's a great song if you don't know it. We've talked a little bit about the health dimension of the center's well-being model when we were talking about emotions and feeling, but let's talk a little bit more about physical health because your social media can actually impact our physical bodies as well. How familiar does this image feel to many of you? This person is laying in bed, kind of stressed out, looking at his phone. Guessing that most, if not all of us, in the chat today have regularly used our phones in bed, and probably first thing in the morning too. I know for sure that I have done this many times. This is one of the worst habits that can develop because our sleep cycles are so important. Nighttime screen use can really affect us. Nighttime screen use has not only physical and mental effects on us, but is really gross. And this is the gross part is one of my favorite things to talk about because people always have the best reaction. So screens, first off, can decrease our melatonin because they emit blue light, which seems to slow melatonin production in our bodies. Now, you might find yourself overstimulated. A funny video that makes you laugh out loud might disturb your sleeping partner, or it might signal to your brain that it's not time to wind down just yet. Or you might go down a TikTok rabbit hole and find that you're 3 hours past your bedtime and you didn't even realize it. When you wake up tired the next morning, you're going to wish that you had those hours back, and you're probably not going to remember the content that you were looking at. Okay, here it is. Finally, I've read that our phones on average are contaminated with 10 times more germs than our toilet seats. Yeah, that's the reaction. I'm hearing it right there. Why would anyone want that in their bed while they're sleeping? The first time I read that, I wanted to just throw my phone out the window and never touch it again. It was so gross. If you need your phone for your alarm clock, use it for that. Or if you have to keep your phone nearby because so many caregivers do need that, that's fine. Keep it charging, keep it plugged in at a distance from you so that you won't be tempted to use it for social media doom scrolling when you first wake up or when you're trying to go to sleep. Tech neck is a syndrome that happens after a repeated amount of stress occurs in our neck area due to having our heads down in a forward position. Sadly, this is being seen everywhere, especially since the pandemic when we became so completely online. Adults are seeing this, very young teenagers. I've even been reading research about preteens that are experiencing this already. These are things that they're going to have to be living with for the rest of their lives. Even more harmful are things that disregard the health of others, like texting and driving, or using social media and driving. I live in Buffalo, Minnesota, so my commute here is about an hour. And on my way here, every time I work at the university, even today, I would say on average I'm seeing 5 people using their phones in their cars, and it is absolutely terrifying. One study by researchers in Australia even found that 1 in 6 drivers between 17 and 25 years old have used Snapchat while driving. So if you don't know what Snapchat is, we're not talking about texting. We're talking about recording videos or taking photos or interacting with someone else in real time while behind the wheel of a moving vehicle. In addition to all of these injuries, on average, there are 400 deaths that occur each year while taking selfies. We can't talk about social media and physical health without touching a bit on body image. Now, earlier we learned a little bit about social comparison. Comparing bodies is very common on social media, especially for people living with chronic conditions. And it can be incredibly damaging to our self-image, especially in teenagers and young people. But it's not all bad. Social media can also help us learn about new ways to exercise and move and inspire us to have healthy lifestyles. Let's be real for a minute. If you're a fan of Marvel movies, you immediately recognize the image on screen, which features the actor Chris Evans as Captain America. I know, realistically, that Kit Brashears, will never look like this man. And I'm okay with that. I can, however, read stories online about how he developed his muscle tone, what he ate, how much water he drank, and what types of movement he did. By not comparing myself to an actor whose job it is 24/7 to look like this, and instead focusing what I can do to help discover my own goals through the successes of others, I'm using that upward social comparison that I shared about earlier. Social media can promote body positivity, and that's great, especially considering how many years media outlets have pushed body perfection onto all of us. People can be influenced to explore healthy lifestyles and try new things. One of my favorite examples, a dear friend of mine had never participated in running a marathon before, and after a mutual friend walked in her first marathon, my friend was inspired to try doing this too. Food education is another great benefit of social media. YouTube chefs, even famous ones like Gordon Ramsay or Martha Stewart from around the world, can be in our kitchens with us. They can teach us about healthy new ways to prepare our favorite foods, or how to prepare foods for people who have special needs and conditions. We can learn about these eating experiences from other cultures too. It's great. Social media can also be really good for goal setting. It can be great for accountability. If a friend is starting to explore a daily walking routine, or maybe even a daily meditation practice, it could prompt you to join them on walks or to start your own mindfulness routine. Maybe you meet them for lunch and do that. On the other hand, we know that social media can lead to bullying, especially if someone is identified by their peers as an other. This is really hard for people in marginalized communities, as so many of us know. Disordered eating is also a negative result of this comparison to influencers on social media. Now, I could go off on a complete tangent here. I will not. When it comes to influencers, though, it is really important to know that most, if not all, well-known influencers and celebrities are using filters and photo editors for even their most basic casual photos. You're not even comparing yourselves to them. You're comparing yourselves to their idea of what perfection looks like. These unrealistic standards are being acknowledged a little bit more commonly now. I have seen some promising new ideas about Instagram rolling out very slowly and automatically noting when a photo has been filtered. I think that would be personally deeply helpful for people to understand. So in short, when we're thinking about our bodies, technology, and social media, I really encourage you to remember that not everything you see online is real, and that it's so much more important to be comfortable in your own body than to try to be someone who you're not. We've learned how social media impacts health, emotions, and relationships, and now we're going to talk a little bit about how social media, nature, and the environment can affect us. Welcome back. Taking Charge says that our environment is everything around us, including the air we breathe, the water we drink, the places we live and work, and the natural world. It's important for our well-being because it provides us with the resources that we need to survive and thrive. Maybe you've noticed in this entire presentation today, I've used a template that has nature photos on each slide. Several well-established studies have found that even looking at nature might be good for improving mood and relaxing. So if you're spending time with your caregiver and or if you're spending time with those you're caring for rather, and you don't have access to nature, this would be a great time to take out your phone and just look at some nature photos that might actually bring you down a little bit, or even find a quick nature meditation or breathing exercise on YouTube. Technology can also negate some of nature's restorative benefits. So on screen, you're going to see the title of a 2018 study that suggests that using devices while sitting outside undoes all of the good attention-boosting benefits of nature. That's not to say, of course, that when you're outside, you shouldn't use your devices. I work outside on my front porch as often as possible, but even though that's likely better than working in my office where I don't have nature access, the study seems to point to the idea that I'm not getting everything that I could from this experience. On the other hand, a study from 2021, which examined the UK during COVID, suggested that spending time on social media looking at nature really helped people. One of the study's authors noted that we feel the injection of wildlife into people's homes, particularly at this point in the COVID pandemic, is very helpful and uplifting. Another study from 2020, by pairing social media and AI, or artificial intelligence, used 30,000 social media photographs across 185 countries, so there's a lot of data in this study. The researchers found that nature was more likely to appear in photographs taken during a fun activity compared to photos of your daily routines. More importantly, the proportion of photographs with nature taken during fun activities is associated with our national life satisfaction scores. The study provides really cool global evidence of the biophilia hypothesis, again, something I could talk about for ages, and shows how a connection between humans and nature contributes to life satisfaction, and highlights how nature serves as a background for so many of our important lived moments. One activity that I often like to share with folks is to try to spend even half an hour outside without looking at your device. At the end of that time, take your phone out, check your notifications, do whatever you'd like, and actively use your device while in nature for the same amount of time. 30 minutes in the example that I've shared. At the end of that block of time, take a couple mindful moments to consider how you're feeling. Many of my students and other folks in the community note that in this experience they feel more scattered, less attentive, and they didn't notice as much when they had their devices with them in nature. Several even note the word resentment. They felt resentful of what the devices took from them when spending time in nature or with their pets. I'm not suggesting, again, that you should not use your phone in nature. I use mine outdoors all the time to take photos of the plants like these that are growing in my gardens, the auroras when they pop out, and even my dog or my cats. But to truly immerse yourself in nature and get all the benefits that the environment can bring us, it's so much better to try to experience it without these digital distractions. My tips for working with nature, social media, and tech are all very simple. First, if you're spending time with nature, give yourself a break and actually immerse yourself in it. Your notifications can wait, for the most part. To me, one of the best unexpected gifts can be when you're spending time in the woods or you're near the lakeshore and there's no signal available for your phone. That can feel really nice. Second, just pay attention to your surroundings. This isn't just for your safety. A minute ago, I talked about these selfie-related injuries and deaths, but the act of taking photos is pretty harmless. Artificial adjustments of natural life in order to take a perfect picture, though, might impact the ecosystem. People trampling over flowers or plucking plants out of their spots and taking natural objects home are all activities that can actually harm nature and harm the experiences of those around us. Finally, I love this tip from COA Campgrounds. Use your captions for good. Using your captions as a means of raising awareness, even if it's just adding the hashtag #LeaveNoTrace, or share a photo of yourself swimming in a glacial lake and encourage your friends and family to wear all-natural sunscreen so it doesn't contaminate the water. The first time I read that, I'll be really honest, it worked for me. I saw the tweet on the Instagram post rather on COA Campground's Instagram feed, and I'm like, wait a second, what in the world is all natural sunscreen? So I went down a hole looking for this, and I've learned something that helped the environment via social media. So again, it's not all that bad. As we begin to wrap up in this last section, I'm going to talk just a little bit about social media and community. The last tip that I shared about using your captions for good will be even further reinforced here because we're going to talk a little bit about online activism. Taking charge suggests that community well-being is a combination of social, economic, environmental, cultural, and political conditions identified by individuals in their communities as essential for them to flourish and fulfill their potential. Have any of you heard of the word collectivism before? No. Oh, good. Gosh, I feel like I'm teaching you all so much. So collectivism is this combination of the words clicking and activism. It's the practice of supporting a political or social cause via the internet. Now, even if you haven't heard the word, you've probably participated in this form of activism by sharing a hashtag like Black Lives Matter, hashtag Time's Up, or yesterday I actually used hashtag Golden Retriever Energy in an email with Allison, or by even sharing educational images. So this is really common on Instagram stories. If you're on Instagram and you're flipping through your friends' stories, you might see that they're posting things that you didn't know about causes that you didn't understand. Facebook frames to change your public profile picture to support a cause, or even something as simple as signing an online petition are really other good examples of this. Collectivism does have a really unfortunate reputation of being lazy activism, but it really can be helpful and educational for others. A dear friend of mine, Nicole Cardoza, who founded the Anti-Racism Daily newsletter, is an activist, and I frequently read and share articles from her newsletter on my own social media. I feel very often that when I learn something, that maybe others in my sphere were also unaware of the issue, and perhaps my understanding and my sharing will help them. I'll quickly add that in addition to online activism requiring offline actions, it is also critical that you're evaluating information for accuracy before you share it, and we're going to talk about that in just a second too. So how do you make your online activism have an offline impact? How do you actually deeply make the change? Well, there are a lot of really easy ways that you don't even have to do that you don't even have to do by participating in person. You can still do it from home. You can donate money. You can donate time. You can donate resources. Sharing a cause online by using these hashtags is a really good place to start. You could also move your support offline by exploring local organizations who are supporting these causes that you care about, or by making a donation of money. While protesting and showing up in person might not be for everyone, and that's okay, it definitely does have an impact. The 2017 Women's March on Washington is one of my favorites to cite. It boasted hundreds of thousands of participants, and it was also the largest single-day protest in US history that was started by a Facebook post. Also, one of my favorite fun facts about that is that it was started by a woman of color in Hawaii. Third, it's important that we lift up voices that are different than our own. When others are being marginalized, simply sharing their stories without adding your own commentary can be educational for others, and it can create openings for conversations that you can have with others in a safe environment that you control. The last tip I'm going to attribute once more to my friend Nicole, who once told me to focus locally and change what I can in my own community. It's terrific to educate others by sharing things online, but by spending time in my own community, And supporting or even leading causes that I care deeply about can be a game changer for me and my neighbors. And again, as caregivers, I would really encourage you to think about this. So many of you are living with people that have chronic diseases or potentially even rare disease. Sharing education about your experience and about what that is like could go a really long way in terms of donation and advocacy for research and for more resources for folks in similar situations as you. So as we start talking about sharing content online, it's really important, as I wrap up, to note that we have to share accurate information. As AI and text bots start to make information hard to discover, it's our responsibility to make sure that what we share is correct. One more time, it's our responsibility to make sure that what we're sharing is correct, especially when it comes to health information. As caregivers, you all know how important it is to have sound medical advice that is supported by science. Disinformation, which is different than misinformation, is false information that is spread intentionally to deceive others. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that probably most of you have not participated purposefully in disinformation campaigns, right? Nobody in here is operating a Russian troll farm. Misinformation, on the other hand, is likely something that we have all done at one point or another. I know that I have. I fell for an emotionally charged news article, and I shared a link to a fake story. A few minutes later, when I had cooled down, I did a simple Google search, and I discovered that the story wasn't real. I took it down and wrote an apology on Facebook where I'd shared the story. I didn't get to stop the story, but I was able to stop it in my own sphere and share it with others, so hopefully they wouldn't share it either. Disinformation and misinformation cross political and ideological spectrums. If you feel that your faith, your political party, or others who share your beliefs are not sharing disinformation, I'm so sorry, but you're wrong. And it's really important to be objective of whatever you read and see, even if you agree with it. This type of content divides us, and it brings out the worst in all of us. It often sets up tangential conversations to distract from real issues, and it discourages our ability to collectively agree that anything is true. We can't even agree that the truth is true. On screen, you're going to see a really good example of misinformation that was shared by the website BuzzFeed. The original image was from an explosion in China in 2015. In 2020, BuzzFeed accidentally used this video and cited it as happening in Minneapolis during the Minneapolis uprising. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of lights go on overhead. Yeah, literally, this happens all the time. As I said a moment ago, it's your responsibility, it's my responsibility to check information before we share it. Some of these tips to include information or to evaluate information include being skeptical, think critically, question everything that you see and read, even when it aligns with how you feel already. If something is emotionally charged or it's posted during a time of crisis, double check it. The BuzzFeed example that I shared a minute ago is a really good example. I think most of us probably remember during the COVID pandemic too. It seemed like every time you got online, there was some new shady health professional that had 400 million followers on Facebook that were offering really ridiculous solutions for disease management that weren't realistic. It's also really important to share multiple sources. Keep in mind that most news outlets have a bias, and by reading different articles that are focusing on the exact same topic, you'll often gain a broader perspective of what you're thinking about sharing. If this sounds like too much work, just don't share it. We all know someone in our social media feeds that constantly shares absolutely everything. I think that I've muted most of mine, but every once in a while one pops up. Most of us have probably muted this person as well, and if you haven't, you probably should. Keep in mind that you don't have to share everything you see. You're not a news outlet, you're not paid to distribute content, and sometimes it's okay to just be quiet and listen. thank you so much for exploring this fabulous topic with me today. If you want to connect, I'm Professor Kit on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm available via email address that you see on the screen right now. Do feel free to reach out. I love interacting with people that I've met in the community, and I probably have a resource or a specific answer to a question that you might have. Now, with that said, I think that we do have a couple minutes we've got 4 minutes, according to Allison, for some question and answers. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask.
Thank you for a great presentation. I want to ask you a question. So I personally did not use social media for a long, long time, and I dislike using social media. But as a public speaker, as somebody who has their own business, I find it necessary. A couple coaches would tell me that if they can't see you, they can't purchase your services. So it's so hard to find a balance because I find myself in a situation where I don't want to be engaging, and I find it overwhelming because I'm usually of the mentality of, if you didn't invite me to your party or you didn't want to share that with me via text message or email, I don't really care. And it's not that I don't care about you, it's just that it probably doesn't pertain to me.
Sure.
But how do you find that balance in today's world, knowing that companies and especially solopreneurs have such a need to be engaged in any Instagram, LinkedIn, and more than one usually, and also finding your sanity within that?
This is a really common question, and there's not really a super direct answer to it. My thoughts, honestly, on this are, put in as much as you feel comfortable and no more, right? That's so much easier said than done, right? I'm teaching college kids. I'm managing social media on websites. I literally have to be plugged in from 9 to 5 every single day. Well, that's when I give myself time. After 5 o'clock, I'm done. Nobody's going to hear from me. If it's part of my job to be on social media, then I'm going to work on it during work hours. I'm not going to work on it outside of work hours. So I have really very clear boundaries about how I'm engaging and when I'm engaging. And I think just kind of figuring out what those boundaries are for you is critical, but you have to have the boundaries. Any other questions or comments or constructive feedback? Or compliments, those are okay too.
Yes, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Cal Newport, but he has phenomenal books on how to unplug. And he actually, surprisingly, has a super, his business goes really well. And he doesn't even use his own email. Like when he sends out emails, he uses his wife's email.
Yep.
But anyway, so I wanted to say that. But one question I had is if there's finding a correlation now, like when we talk about doom scrolling and things like that, shopping online.
Yeah.
And what the effect of that is on our mental health and our wallets. I mean, are people becoming more impulsive shoppers? Because to me, the feeling is the same as when you're just scrolling.
Absolutely, and I'm going to say this with massive hypocrisy because I have 3 Poshmark packages that have been delivered since I've been talking here. So yeah, honestly, I think that the research that I've seen is pretty scattered because some of it is, again, when we're talking about evaluating information, some of the research that I've seen has been conducted by department stores. That's probably not super believable, right? I know when apps started gamifying shopping, and again, I mentioned Poshmark, that's probably one of the best ones, it absolutely does trigger that dopamine response. You're getting notifications, you're being encouraged to, buy something quickly because someone else is looking at it. So absolutely, it can have all of the hallmarks that social media can for sure, and it still is, it's a social buying experience if you think about it like that.
Kit, thank you so much. I think it's funny because it's ironic that a lot of people here, there are people here today that I have met for the first time in real life, but because we're internet friends, because
like us,
because caregiving can be so isolating that I think that social media can bring us together in that way.
Absolutely.
And there's so much around it that we need to be aware of. So thank you
For
so
sure.
much, Kit.
Thank you all for letting me be here. I'm so grateful for all of you.
Yeah.